which is also stated, they used Romans 13, that black people were told that white government authorities were ordained by God, and therefore resisting apartheid was equivalent to resisting God. Suffering as a Christian due to the suffering and poverty imposed by apartheid were framed as personal spiritual trials to be endured with humility, rather than structural political issues to be fought.
Many were taught, if you challenge a leader, you are rebelling. If you are rebelling, you are sinning. And if you are sinning, you will be punished by God. It rebelled the natural human response to brutality as a spiritual failure. Turn the cheek, the other cheek meant do not resist. Anger was called bitterness, and bitterness was called a sin. What does it do to the mind? It creates an emotional imprisonment.
Today's church prefers unity language over justice, memory over truth, and comfort over confrontation.
And we say that the opposition assumes that we are using a monolith definition of the church. We agree that it was not all churches that used scripture to enforce psychological compliance in them, which is why we specifically spoke of the role of the Dutch Reformed Church, which initiated this. Additionally, we still hold the stance that the church did not respond adequately. For example, the opposition mentioned that we are encouraging the church to live in permanent apology and self-condemnation. This is false. We are asking that the church should be addressing specifically what happened and what was taught.
For these reasons, we strongly affirm that 50 years after 1976, the church has still not fully confronted its role in shaping psychological compliance, and on that basis, the proposition must stand. Thank you.
Our stance is that we're not defending apartheid or denying its abuse. We are arguing that the church is not a monolith. Many churches did confront, resist, and even dismantle the mysteries of apartheid. Religious thinking was just a tool of resistance, not necessarily compliance.
The church resisted psychological compliance in two crucial ways: through leadership and through physical spaces that enabled activism.
The claim that churches have not led a meaningful change after 1994 is false. Leaders such as Omkhet Chingi and Advocate Bongwe Keys represent a new generation of faith-based activists who actively challenge corruption, gender injustice, and moral decay both in the church and the state. These individuals occupy public spaces precisely to resist false narratives and not reproduce them. The reality is that trailblazers walked before us, referring to the pre-1994 leaders. They walked so that we could run. We will run so others could run.
Religion often functions as a site of resistance, not submission. Churches such as the South African Council of Churches, under leaders like Desmond Tutu that my speaker mentioned, openly opposed apartheid. Theologians such as Alan Bossa promoted liberation through theology, which rejected passive obedience and framed resistance to injustice as moral duty.
When we weigh this debate, the opposition wins on accuracy, nuances, examples, and agency. Proposition relies on moral outrage and sweeping generalizations. Opposition provides a historically grounded account that recognizes wrongdoing without erasing resistance, reform, or black religious agency. Ultimately, the motion demands a singular, guilty verdict for a plural institution, ignores decades of resistance and reform, and reduces black faith to blind obedience. That version of history is incomplete and misleading, and for this reason, opposition simply wins.
But your emphasis in the space that we're in, emphasis in different things that we're doing, because we're seeing a lot of leaders in spaces that you wouldn't really think, this is a space like for Christ, but we're seeing a lot of those leaders actually advocating for Christ in a way that actually changes the world. So I think that brings a lot of emphasis in the different things that we're doing and how we show up in those different spaces. and whether or not we are actually embodying who Christ is.
Definition. I think our biggest thing or takeaway today is who defines what and how credible is the source that's defining. Because if you are saying the Bible is defining the church as an individual, then the Bible also defines the church as an institution. You know, so it goes back to what definitions are widely accepted and what makes the love widely accepted and critical.
It was mentioned that, what is it? Like it's mentioned that it's systematic, not theological. But theology in and of itself is the study of God. Studies are a form of education, right? And you mentioned education as part of the system. By saying education was used as a tool, that would also include theology in and of itself. So theology is not faith, it's not the church, it is a study, which is part of education. And then I'd say in terms of the church, what is it? Sorry, addressing it now, there's no proof either team mentioned to support or deny it. Because what he mentions are leaders, but nothing in what you mentioned says that it says that the leader said our church is saying this, our church is standing for that, or anything like that. So we cannot confirm or deny that that is from the church in a way. Am I making sense?
A point that I was waiting for, which is about the double and after policy, is the system or the structure, right? A member who was part of a family government and led church and led Christ through the apartheid regime is going to be different. So how would you guys manage the church to at least practice the Christian and have been psychologically? And how would you guys practice that is not enough for the individual unit? Yeah.